Hey everyone, welcome back to another ETTO catch-up. That is our new name, not ketchup or catsup, but catch up. It's basically where Will and I catch up and you guys get to listen in.
Yes, and this week is an extra special one where it's an additional segment where it is the Comic Book Club.
Hooray! I love this.
It's very good.
I'm enjoying this very much. Just catching up on a whole bunch of stories and stuff that I missed, like major things.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good excuse to actually get into them. Good
But
times.
before we get into them, we're going to get into news.
Yes. What's happened? I know nothing except
You know
one thing.
nothing. Well, first up is the biggest news that came out of the back of last week is that the Disney streaming service has a name, which is Disney Plus, which, PlayStation Plus. I think it's the only other thing that has a plus in it. It's just interesting that there's now two things that are something plus.
Yeah. Fine.
It's
It's
fine.
not a great name, but whatever.
It's not really. I liked Disney Anywhere, which is what they called their movie service. It sounded great. Get Disney Anywhere. Sounds great. Disney Plus is a little bit lame, but whatever. And with that, we also got confirmation on... Well, we'll get to that one. We got the announcement that a new Star Wars, in addition to the Mandalorian series, we're getting another Star Wars series, which doesn't have a title yet, but it's going to be centered around Cassian Andor, which is the guy from Rogue One that no one really cared about, and everyone was kind of shocked that he was getting his own series. But I think the bigger thing would be that it'll also have K2SO, voiced by Alan Tudyk, which is what everyone will actually be watching the show for.
Yeah, absolutely. So that means it's a prequel.
It is. It's a prequel for a prequel.
Cassian dies.
Yeah.
Cassian dies. And
Cassian
so
dies.
does K2.
Yeah, everyone dies in that movie. So it's a prequel to the prequel, set between a prequel. Set after a prequel.
That's so weird.
Yep. welcome to our stupid cinematic future.
It's getting complicated.
So it'll be a canon show. It'll be set during the Rebellion's early years, which means it could have Rebels characters and it could have Clone Wars characters. So the most exciting thing for me from this, apart from the fact we'll get more of K2, is that, Ahsoka could be in there, possibly, but the cool thing is to have, I can never remember his name, it's a very New Zealand name, but the guy who did all the Clone Wars characters, all the
Taika
clones...
Waititi.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
he
of course.
he could be in this show as Captain Rex, who is like the crossover token between Rebels and Clone Wars. He could come into the show and play a clone with a voice, which would be very exciting. Anyway, it's all very exciting. For me, at least, it's Star Wars. So hopefully it works. But the thing that you can actually discuss about is the other thing that got officially confirmed. It had been rumoured along with many other shows, so this one being confirmed may then allude to all those other ones possibly also being confirmed. It's the Loki show starring Tom Hiddleston.
The Loki show!
The Loki, which I hope is called The Fresh Prince of Asgard, is my hope.
That would be pretty cool.
That and directed by Taika, or produced at least.
Yeah. I'm just, now that we've said the Loki show, I just imagine him walking in and sitting down at a desk and there's a live audience cheering and stuff.
Yeah, it's a chat show.
That'd be great.
And at the end of it turns out he was never there. Every episode.
That's great. It's just he's pranking himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
It's so weird that the films are now moving towards TV, the film characters.
Yeah.
Because Tom Hiddleston is a film star, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't
like any British actor who started on the BBC, but he's filmed now.
Yeah. So this seems odd to move. It sort of seems like a step down, but I don't know if
Disney?
you can say. Yeah, I don't know if you can say it's a step down anymore because of how big Netflix is.
It's like Anthony Hopkins being the
streaming.
draw for Westworld and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's odd. My fear is the big thing. It's actually the thing that Kevin Feige said when Marvel started. I'll misquote him slightly, but he said, "We're not going to do what the comics are. Everything's going to be very simple. Nothing will cross over." Well, Feige. So now, stripping to all these different services, there's already, I think there's 60-something hours of film and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Netflix all together to then have things that are probably going to end up being necessary to understand aspects of the films, because I doubt they'll all be prequels. It's pretty weird. I'm a little worried, but, as long as they're good for us, I guess that's fine. I worry it might spell, a bit of a downfall for Marvel.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people will still at least jump onto it. At least the current fans of it, especially fans of Loki.
Yeah, which is everyone, apparently.
Has there been any confirmation on the Scarlet Witch one that was hinted at?
It's only Loki so far.
Cool.
But along with that, just beforehand, there was the announcement that girl from 13 Reasons Why is cast in Avengers 4. People are thinking it's what's her name? Kate Bishop.
Yep.
Hawkeye's offsider. And then from that,
Female
people were
Hawkeye.
like, if she's a Netflix star, then that could possibly mean there'll be a Hawkeye series where he trains her. That would be cool as well.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility.
Cool. And I wonder whether, like, Feige saying, nah, nothing's ever going to cross over. I wonder if they may, like, bring in Daredevil and stuff.
Yeah, hopefully.
And everything will actually combine. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It'd make probably everything much more complicated, but it's giving the fans what they want, which is everyone in everyone else's things. Everyone's got their fingers in each other's pies.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll even get what I want, which is a Spider-Man series.
Yes, that would be sick.
That's what we need.
That'd be great.
What's your bit of news, Joshua? Oh, wait, say something.
Huh? I was just going to say, get Spider-Man with Daredevil and make Daredevil series, like, fun.
Yeah. Bit lighthearted.
Such a downer, but whenever they're together, they always seem to have so much fun, like, kind of swinging around the city buildings and stuff.
It's so impractical, but yeah.
So good. So my one piece of news is a gamey thing. And I just got reminded by Jade from our Patreon, actually, which she's got a couple of things throughout this podcast. But she just reminded me that the sequel for Undertale
The secret
has
sequel.
been announced. So Delta Rune is the name of it, which I think is a better name than Undertale, but it's actually an anagram of it. Yeah. So it's made up of exactly the same letters. Delta Rune is a way better name for a game than Undertale, but apparently Undertale was like, it's all underground. It's literally or the place is called like Under or something, and so it's a tale
It's the tale of Under.
Of Under or whatever. So it makes sense, but Delta Rune is a sick name. The developer has only released the first chapter, which you can download for free on deltarune.com. But he's also announced that the whole game won't be done for a few years, which could be disappointing for some people. But at least you've got a bit of a taste of this
I thought
sequel.
that was intentional.
Yeah. So, yeah, go check that out if you are a fan of it. It sounds like just the first chapter as well has replayability, just like Undertale does.
Good.
Which is pretty cool. So that should
keep you satisfied.
Yeah, satisfy people for a little while until the thing comes out. It sounds pretty long as well. Like it took my mate from work a few days of like on and off playing to get through it, which is pretty good. So yeah, it sounds like you've got a few hours there and it's completely free.
It's interesting that, like, I just wouldn't have thought that, I mean, it is a sequel to it, but Undertale would adopt that kind of chapter format that a lot of games are doing. It's interesting that it's doing that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it is, like, if it's officially, like, this is the first chapter, the next chapter will be out later, the next chapter will be out after that. I don't know whether it's doing that or it's like, hey guys, I'm working on a thing, here's
the
part
start
of the thing.
Yeah.
But it's a different character as well. Sort of same world, but I think you play as a different character, but there are references to the previous character. and it sounds like their previous character has like finished school and finished university and stuff. So this also sounds like it's a little bit in the future from the Undertale games, but neither of us have played them, I don't think.
No.
It's definitely one I've wanted to get to, and now that it's on Switch, I'm considering getting it on Switch.
Might as well add it to that Steam list.
Yeah, well, I think it's on my Steam list, but I get it on Switch and have
I mean, the amount of games you have on the Switch now is probably in rival of your Steam account.
Not quite. Not quite. Steam's still pretty scary to look at. Cool, but I think that's it for news. Anything else?
Yeah, 2 things.
Okay.
One thing, Winnie the Pooh is in Kingdom Hearts, so that's a thing. They released a new trailer with him in it. So just to add to the creepiness of just the way everyone talks in that game, now you get to listen to Winnie the Pooh be a real old creep. And also, when I was watching the Mary Poppins Returns trailer at the cinema the other day, I was watching it, and I'm like, in my mind, this film could end with some appearance of Ewan McGregor and Winnie the Pooh, and I'd be like, oh god, are we heading towards a Disney cinematic universe where all these live action films
Imagine that.
Because I was like, it's almost the same kind of time period. I mean, I know it's America. Oh no, it's both England. There's no reason that Ewan McGregor can't just walk up with Winnie, or if he's in the background or something. It just got me really excited. The only reason I wanted to talk about the Kingdom Hearts thing was to produce that theory.
Yeah, right. That's weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
That would be so strange.
There doesn't have to be crossovers. I just want it to exist.
Yeah. And then they
Dumbo.
fight the big bad. They fight Dumbo.
Yeah, they fight Dumbo. That's what I mean.
Excellent.
Stupid big ears.
Sick. So just before we move on to anything else, I've got my Red Dead up on my other monitor right now.
Yeah.
On the please reconnect your wireless controller.
Yeah, good.
And the background, it's got all the text on there and stuff, but the background it just looks like a bit of a damaged something or other. It's mostly black, but there's sort of dots and stuff on it. And I actually started touching the screen because I thought that the dots were hairs and fibers and stuff. There's a long one that looks very much like a white hair right now.
Yeah.
And so I went to wipe it off and it didn't come off. And then I realized that it was actually part of the background. But it looks so much like a hair. It still does, and it's really annoying me. I gotta turn off that monitor.
Yeah, don't look.
Alright, good.
But staying with Ewan McGregor, and he's being cast in a film that I'm still surprised is coming in 2020. It's Birds of Prey, and he's being cast as Black Mask. So, there you go.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. It makes me pretty much certain that the Obi-Wan film's fucked off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course, because that would be him.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So, yeah. But that film's still existing. It's got your favourite Joshua. I've shut the page.
My favourite Joshua.
Your favourite Joshua. As the Huntress is Mary Elizabeth Winstead from your Scott Pilgrim.
Hey, excellent.
She's still relevant. And also, there's, everyone knows that there's Black Canary and someone else, but it's not the people from the CWs, it's a whole new cast. It's like the Charlie's Angels. I don't know why I'm so Italian all of a sudden, I'm like a mafia boss. It's basically the DC's Charlie's Angels. So that's coming 2020, which means 2020 will be the year of the female superhero film for DC. Because both Wonder Woman 1984 and Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Unless they're both cancelled.
Could be. Who's Black Mask? I'm trying to think.
Look him up. You will have seen him as the Thing. I'm pretty sure he's in one of the Arkham games.
Okay, sure.
Black Mask just comes up with either things that are racially charged or it's...
DC.
yeah. Yeah, he's totally in an Arkham game. Come on, Joe.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. He's exactly what you would expect.
He looks like...
Zoom.
Well, he looks to me like Red Skull.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like their version of Red Skull, except that's actually a mask, not his skull.
That's possible.
With the teeth and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. So he's obviously a bad guy.
Yeah, so he's the bad guy for that film.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sick.
So there you go.
I'm keen for that, because, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Hopefully it's lighthearted and fun, because it should be. but
It definitely
whatever.
should be. Hopefully people look like they're standing in places.
All the promo shots, they're not just floating in space.
They're just nowhere.
Never legs.
Just nowhere ever.
No.
Cool. But what isn't nowhere ever, that was a terrible segue. You're welcome.
What I would say is, but something that is grounded is what I would have gone with.
Let's go with that. That thing that Will said is The Walking Dead Volume 1, Days Gone By. So, if you're new to this, we have a comic book club where we choose a comic pretty much every month, although we haven't been overly consistent with it, but that's fine. That sounded like I was really angry.
Don't know what hurt.
I'm not angry. I'm never angry, really.
That's true.
But yeah, so we started with Watchmen. I read through Watchmen, so you can find that in a previous podcast somewhere else, like 4 weeks ago-ish, 4 or 5 weeks ago. But this month's has been The Walking Dead, and we're done with it, and now we're going to discuss it, and then we're going to announce our next thing for November / probably a bit of December as well.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. All right, so Walking Dead Volume 1. Basically, you've got your police officer, Rick, just single page, police officer, gets shot in a shootout and then goes to hospital. That's page 1. That's pretty much it. And then we've got, he wakes up in a zombie apocalypse, that sort of trope thing, which I have some information on a little bit later. He wakes up in a hospital and no one's around. It's the zombie apocalypse, but he sort of walks around trying to find nurses and stuff before he actually realizes what's happened or starts discovering what's happened. He goes back to his house, finds no one there. Excuse me. I've been drinking Pasito.
Of course you have.
And I'm probably a bit gassy, so my
I always
apologies
called
if
it
I disappear.
Passiona. All of my life it was Passiona. It's still what I call it.
I think there's another one called Passiona.
The purple one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's definitely one called Passiona,
Alright.
but there's also like a different brand called Pasito.
Placebo. Yeah, gotcha.
That's right, yeah. Despacito.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he goes back to his house, no one's there, his wife and kid are gone, whatever the English is there. He finds these random people in his neighbor's house. He sort of befriends them, they're actually alive. And they tell him that everyone was told to go to Atlanta. So he goes to Atlanta. Well, he helps these people out, goes back to his police department, gets them guns, gets himself a bunch of guns, starts heading to Atlanta, runs out of gas, has to get a horse from a farm nearby where he's trying to get gas, but everyone inside is dead. Gets this horse, rides all the way to Atlanta. He finds that Atlanta has also been overrun and everyone is dead, including all the army people that went in to try and protect people and stop Atlanta from being overrun. The horse gets eaten, which is very sad, and a little bit gross. He finds a survivor, Glenn, who's almost undoubtedly probably the most famous person in the series, because I always hear Glenn's name whenever people are talking about Walking Dead.
Well, something happened to him that I think forced him into public knowledge.
Okay. Yeah.
It's he met an end.
Oh, yeah. But, like, even before that, I feel like I'd heard Glenn way more than I'd heard of, like...
he's the favourite character of the show. Him and Daryl are definitely the number...
Yeah, those
the top
two
tier.
I'd heard the names of. But anyway, so we...
And Carl!
Is that the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is the worst name for a child.
Yeah.
Whenever they say Carl, especially in the TV show, I'm like...
Because they say Coral.
Yeah, Coral.
They always say Coral. Have you seen Coral?
It just doesn't seem like a child's name.
No.
That's an adult's name, but obviously you can't just give an adult the name that when their name has been chosen since birth.
Yeah. Well, what I think
so
I would
weird.
do, we'll get to the story, back to the story. I think the way you do it is, you pick a child's name for the first name, and then an adult's name for the middle name. So when they get older, they just their nickname becomes their middle name, because that's a lot of actors that do that. I think that's a good way to get around it.
Cool. That works.
I just thought of that just then. That's what I'm
Nice.
going to do with my child. I'm going to call him Tiny Large.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
So then when he gets older, everyone's going to call him Large.
Dave. Oh, yeah, or Large. I don't know. Maybe.
What? Okay, good. Well, now that we've got that done. Yeah, so he finds... what's his name?
Glenn.
Glenn. Good. I do have notes. I'm trying to rearrange them because I can't read what's on them. Cool. He finds Glenn, gets taken back to the camp where his wife and kid is, and also his old cop partner, Shane. So Shane was also in page 1, but you don't really find out who he is or whatever. And one of the most annoying things is Rick and Shane look almost identical.
Yep. It's a good thing they have very, like, prominent hats.
Yes. Yeah. Shane wears a hat. Rick does
all
not.
the time.
That is the difference. Yeah, he only ever wears a hat, and that's the only time you tell.
And it's like Rick either doesn't or wears a massive cowboy hat. That's how you know it's Rick.
Yeah. Oh, it was so annoying. Before I sort of realized who the hatted one was, and that. Anyway, yeah, cool. So they're there, and then Shane has been getting a bit romantic with Rick's wife in Rick's absence. Yeah, but no one really knows. Well, some people are sort of aware. Yeah, everyone seems to know, but Rick doesn't.
No.
And apparently Rick gets warned about this, and he's like, "Nah, I know Shane. Shane's a good friend. He wouldn't do that."
It's like, dude, you've been asleep for 3 weeks. Listen to the dude that's been hanging around with this man.
Yeah, totally. Everyone's like, "Be careful of Shane." Nah, I know Shane. He's fine. The world is normal.
Yeah.
The world doesn't change people. Or, like, a zombie apocalypse doesn't change people.
No!
Not at all. Ever. Cool. And then Rick thinks that putting zombie guts on each other will help them blend in with the other zombies, because he thinks that maybe they won't get attacked because of the smell, because zombies don't attack each other. They only attack normal humans. Mm-hmm. So they get some zombies, grab their guts, wipe them all over themselves, and then they go into town to get some guns from the gun store.
Correct.
They almost die because it starts to rain, and that washes off the guts.
Yep.
So they sort of narrowly escape. And then Rick starts showing the entire camp, including his own, like, toddler child, how to use a gun.
Yup.
And then his wife doesn't want the kid to have a gun, but Rick's like, nah, he's going to have a gun. So the toddler child gets a gun. They're all sitting around saying what they do for a living, which is not overly interesting.
It also seems a bit late in the game to be telling each other.
Yeah.
You've been at the camp for possibly at the very least 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, a bit odd. But anyway, one of them gets attacked and dies. Another guy gets bitten. It gets real sick, and I think he kills himself, or...
They leave him to die. So in the show it's a little bit more clear, but in the comics they're like, here you go, here's a tree.
That's right. They take him somewhere and tie him to a tree or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So and that's what he wanted as well. They didn't.
They didn't just do it.
He wanted to die. They didn't just do it like dickheads. Rick thinks that they should all move their camp somewhere else, but Shane, the cop guy, the cop partner, doesn't want them to because he thinks that the army will come for them and help them out. Mm-hmm. But things are getting pretty hairy with all the zombies knowing where they are. And then Shane and Rick go off, I think, to find some food because they go hunting together. They have this huge fight. Shane almost kills Rick, and then Rick's son pops out of nowhere and shoots Shane in the head. And that's the end of the comic.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good end.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, spoilers. I mean, whatever. Now you don't have to read it.
That's it. We read it for you.
Yeah.
There's another podcast which I haven't started listening to, but it's run by the host of one of the podcasts I do listen to, called Book Cheat. and it's this guy that goes pretty in depth into like some of the biggest books in history, like your Sense and Sensibility and all like stuff like that. He reads it and then goes fairly in depth, telling you everything about it, so that if it ever comes up at like a dinner party, you can talk about it.
Very good.
It's pretty cool. But he always gets comedians on, so it's very fun and entertaining as well at the same time.
Good.
Yeah, cool. So, what were your thoughts on this?
I really enjoyed it. It's almost the same deal with Watchmen, although it was a lot closer when I watched the show and then read the comic when it all first kicked off. Yep. And it's quite impressive how close it gets. I think they make the right decisions on what to change, because, you know, it within 8 issues of the comics, and I think the first season's like 12, or it's like 20 episodes or whatever. To have followed it beat by beat, things would be resolved far too quickly, and they couldn't have had a prolonged series if they'd just followed this comic to its T. So what they changed is great, but as a comic, like, this is, if you just read the first volume, you could be satisfied and be like, that was cool. I don't need to read any more Walking Dead. It's a good bookend to a story. Yeah, it is.
But if you do want to read more, there's like freaking 30 other volumes or something.
Yeah, there's 180 something issues currently. So it's pretty good.
I think there's only 6 episodes in season 1.
Right. That makes sense.
I think it's fairly short, but so we'll get to the show soon enough. But yeah, I really enjoyed it too. It's so much easier to read than a lot of the other stuff that we read. Because like Marvel has all the scientific jargon and all the space jargon and stuff, which can get kind of complicated and a bit over the top. I know there's some DC comics that I've read in the past that are like that as well, and I've given up on them, but would like to go back at some point.
Yep.
And then there's like all the political jargon and stuff in Watchmen, and obviously there was a lot of stuff like era based of the Watchmen comics that probably went over my head, particularly. But like a lot of political stuff that happened in there. But yeah, this was just so easy to read, and so I don't know, it's nice. It's nice to just like turn your brain off for a little while and read this thing that's just it's just a breeze. What do you think of the art?
Good. It's a nice departure from what we usually read, which is like every frame of painting. Like, there's just so much freaking going on, everything to look at. Whereas this just strips it back, and it's like you only need to look here and here, and it's like nothing's hidden. And it just, I read this entire volume in about 20 minutes last night. Like, it's such a easy way to look at a comic book, and it's just so refreshing. Yeah.
I really like it. I think the art style is super unique as well. Like, you'd probably look, like, if you were shown a panel, if you knew The Walking Dead and you were shown a panel by the artist, you'd be like, oh, that's Walking Dead. Like, it's seems so uniquely, I assume Tony Moore, maybe? Penciler, inker, yeah, cool. So Tony Moore, this is by Robert Kirkman. He writes all the story, and then Tony Moore draws the stuff. I was expecting it to be in color, I think.
Oh, interesting.
When I first opened it, like, I wasn't disappointed, but I was like, it's not in color. Maybe it's just because everything else I read's in color.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, see, that's why I thought you'd enjoy this, because it's similar to like Scott Pilgrim, where it's very taken aback in terms of it's a unique style, and it's like black and white, and everything's very simple.
I definitely did. I just wasn't expecting it. When I first opened it, I was like, whoa, okay, sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but speaking of Scott Pilgrim, they have now been all colorized.
That's true.
So you can get all the color ones, but I don't think I'll bother on those.
No.
But yeah, I love the art. I think it's unique. Like you said, super simple. And one of the things I said as well, like in my notes, was it's not like dialogue heavy at all, and the art does a lot of the talking for you.
Yeah.
There's very few like thought bubbles, if any, and stuff like that. You can just read the expression on on the characters' faces, and you're like, yeah, no, I understand that
I
they're
know
going
what this
through a
is.
hard time, and I know
Yeah.
what they're thinking. Yeah, really, really good. I think it's a pretty realistic story. Well, not realistic, but like you can kind of relate because everyone seems real. The characters
Yep.
seem like actual people, and they're all a little bit twisted, as people probably would be in this situation.
Yep.
And like everything's tense and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I dig that. And yeah, I think it's a fun story. And there's some clear stakes. Like when people die, they're actually dead or undead, whatever. But yeah, there's very obvious stakes from the start here, which sort of keep you going because it's a very intriguing thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the twist on the horror trope of like being there when everything happens, having Rick wake up and being like, "What the fuck's going? Where is everybody?" And then just sudden zombies. Like, it throws you in such a unique moment in time, and it's just. And I think the comics explore a little bit more. The series hasn't even bothered to explain how it all happened yet, so it's very exciting. It's such a. I mean, is it good that he maybe they just don't have a reason. Robert Kirkman never had an idea. He was just like, zombies! Written this, I'm gonna write this shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to read more in the end. I think I'm going to start buying these volumes because they're pretty cheap as well.
Yeah.
They're only like $20 for
Yep.
a whole volume, which is pretty good. But yeah, that on that wake up in a hospital trope, I actually did some research because I'm like, I wonder where this all started. So I started looking into it. So I found out, okay, Walking Dead was 2003.
Yep.
I was like, all right, that's pretty early on. Like that's pretty early on for this sort of trope to be happening. But when I looked into it, I found a website that, well, I think it was like a wiki, not a proper Wikipedia thing, but sort of like
Wikipedia and
yeah,
TARDISopedia.
but it was like a just general film one, I think. I'll find out what it was, but there was a whole page dedicated to waking up in a hospital when everything's gone to crap. Page where it looks into all these different things. tvtropes.org. There you go. So yeah, it looks into that. And Resident Evil and 28 Days Later both did it in 2002. So that's one year before The Walking Dead issue 1 was released. But Resident Evil ended with a girl waking up in a hospital when all this crap had gone down. And then apparently Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is the second one, starts with that. So they link directly together. And that was Resident Evil was towards the beginning of 2002. 28 Days Later was towards the end. And then Walking Dead was like October 2003, I believe.
Yep.
But then in other sort of media, you've got the music video for LMFAO's Party Rock anthem. Party Rock is in their hand. That music video starts with them waking up and everyone basically looks like zombies, but they all dance.
I see.
Yeah. So that happened, but that was 2011, so it definitely didn't start there.
Yep.
You've got Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords.
Yep.
So not quite a zombie thing, but the player wakes up in a medical ward on a space station and there's only 2 alive. One is hibernating and the other forgotten, is what this thing said. What does that mean, Will?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. Good. Well, there you go. So that's another one, but that was 2004, which is post Walking Dead issue 1. You've got System Shock from 1994, where the main character wakes up on a medical deck, which is now, like, I think the whole hospital or whatever is filled with hostile mutants and cyborgs. Then you have to fight your way out of that. I think it's a very Doomy sort of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say very similar to Doom.
Yeah, from the screenshots, the minimal screenshots I saw, it looked like your sort of original Doom or Wolfenstein type, sort of like apparently fake 3D. I guess. Yeah. But the earliest account of this that I could find was a novel called The Day of the Triffids from 1951.
Yep.
So it beats all of them by far. I couldn't find anything else before System Shock other than this. So this one's a little bit different. It's still not zombies, not quite zombies, but it started the trope of waking up. Like, that's where the whole story begins. So a guy wakes up after his eye surgery, and the whole population had been, like, in that time, had been blinded by these lights in the sky that everyone was looking at. So everyone went blind. So apparently this guy's the only guy that can see, maybe, because of his eye surgery.
Fair.
But the entire world is overrun by plants that are eating everyone. Hence the Day of the Triffids.
That'll be it.
So there you go. So next week, guys, Day of the Triffids, comic book. No, we're not doing
Sounds
that.
good. I mean, there's the movie as well, so we could watch the movie, we could read the book.
Yes, there is that too. But yeah, so 1951 apparently is the start of the wake up in a hospital trope.
There you go.
Well, from what I could find.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Fun fact,
man.
before 1951, there's no written record of history, so you wouldn't know if it happened.
That's very
before
true.
then.
Yeah. We don't know anything that happened before then.
No. But
other than the Day of the Triffids, because that's like, it's a textbook,
it's true.
factual,
It's written
historical
record.
textbook.
The plants ate everything that happened before 1951,
That's it.
including Jesus. He was the first victim.
Exactly right.
Have you got notes, Joshua?
For
whatever you want to do next?
yeah. So the show. How much of the show did you watch when it came out?
When it came out, I got up to the end of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I dove in the lead up to the big Negan finale with Glenn and the ginger guy. Spoilers for that, but it's a long time ago. But yeah, I haven't caught it up. I've watched the recent episode, the last one that Andrew Lincoln's Rick is in, for now. So I've seen the big bits that have happened in the show, basically.
Cool. Fair enough. I've only seen the first 2 episodes about 3 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I've never seen any of them before. And they were fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't capture me like the book did at all.
Oh, I mean, it's dated as well.
Yeah, it's very
It's 8
it's
years
very
old now.
slow. There's a lot of space. But I feel like there's almost too much space. I like what they do with the music. The music is very sparse.
Yep.
Which is cool. And the 2 episodes I watched ended with actual songs, which I thought were pretty cool. Like, they seemed to fit the mood at the time as well. Like, the song at the end of the first episode was really fun when Glenn comes in.
Yeah.
So it's quite obvious why he's the favorite, because they're just like, this guy that's now talking is really fun. And here's this awesome fun song.
It's a good song.
Like about the end of the world or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm riding space junk. Something weird. But yeah, episode 1, it follows the story beats pretty closely. But yeah, like you said, it changes probably what needs to be changed for TV.
Yeah.
But definitely not as closely as like The Watchmen followed the comic. But
they stretch everything out in that freaking thing. Reading the comic last night, I was like, man, I mean, I know he does this stuff in the episode, but I feel like that's the first episode is him like leaving the hospital.
Yeah.
Very little happens.
Yeah. So a lot of the primary story beats that they need are there. Right up until basically episode 2, which episode 1 ends with Glenn being trapped in the middle of Atlanta and then meeting Glenn. And that's where it ends. And then from episode 2, it basically like diverts significantly. It's very different from there. So when people said, "Oh yeah," it's like people have sort of said, "Oh yeah," it starts off basically like the comic and then changes. I didn't realize it would be that quick. Like straight away, it's different. I was expecting to see them get reunited.
It's a lot more like a CW show.
1 almost, but
after episode 2 onwards, it's like, here's the bit you actually came to see, but here's all this other shit.
Yes. Yeah, it's very much like that. So the difference, well, the primary difference between the comic and And the show in episode 2 is that Glenn is part of a group that's inside the city. And they seem to be trapped inside the city. But they seem to be also somewhat connected to the camp where Rick's wife and where Shane is, the cop partner guy. So they seem to be somewhat connected via a walkie-talkie. It sounds like this group that's in the city went out to get supplies and then got trapped. And the people at the camp are basically letting them be trapped. Because it seems like Shane's a dickhead.
Yep.
He won't let anyone go get him. He's just a big old ass. But yeah, that's basically the difference. I think the mainly difference. The main differences between them.
So the other big difference Shane's character is very different as well in the show. Like in the comic, it's kind of like, oh, he had like a one night stand and he clung on to it a lot longer than Laurie did. Like Laurie was like, yeah, that happened. Let's not talk about that. Whereas in the show, I don't know if it's in those first 2 episodes, but it's revealed that Shane, like, they left the hospital. Then Shane was like, I'm gonna go back and get Rick. He pretends to try to get Rick out, but just leaves him because he's like, if Rick dies, I've got Laurie. Like, it's a motive for him to leave Rick. It's always been his plan to. It's not always been his plan, but he's always loved Laurie. Like, it's an additional emotional, romantic arc that they force onto him in that series.
Yeah. Because the first episode, it starts off with Shane asking about Laurie.
Yeah.
And then Rick's talking about some fight they had and stuff like that. But yeah, in episode 1, it is shown that... I think it was episode 1. Maybe it was episode 2. No, it was definitely episode 1. It is shown that Shane and Laurie are sort of still romantically involved, even though they fight. They seem to be like angry at each other a lot, but then they go off and like make out without anyone realizing, or everyone probably knows. But yeah, he seems like a big old jerk in this. Much more than the comic.
Yeah, he also lives a lot longer than he does in the comic.
Okay.
I think he's in the entirety of the first season, but a very similar thing plays out where Rick's like, I hate you, you're such a dick. Carl still does it, but obviously in the show, he doesn't teach him to use the gun at the same time as everyone else. So there's also a bit where, when they get attacked in the comic, Carl shoots one of the zombies, but he doesn't know how to use a gun yet, so that doesn't happen. He doesn't have any sort of heroic moment. Even when he shoots old mate Shane, it's like, I still hate you, kid. Fuck off, mate.
Fair enough. The kid seems older in the show as well.
Yes.
Because he seems like a toddler in the comic. Mm-hmm. He seems like a very, very young boy. Like he's like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Whereas he seems like...
They aged him up a little bit.
8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah.
In the show. So giving him a gun in the comic it seems way more risky. Because that kid's like, Daddy, don't hurt Daddy.
Yeah. It's a good thing he knows how to friggin' aim.
Yeah, totally. But I guess he gets taught in the comic, so it sort of makes sense. But still, like the fact that a 5 or 6 year old can aim at anything ever, impressive. Good job, little kid, Carl. Freaking
Carl.
Stupid name. Yeah. I definitely enjoyed the comic way more than the show.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to move faster. It's more interesting. The people are more interesting. Yeah, I don't feel like I want to go back to the show.
I'd say watch season 1.
Okay.
Season 1, it's in its entirety is really great. It's got a really great ending. But anything after that, it feels like a one and done show, as this comic could be one and done. Like it feels a lot whole. Like Robert Kirkman's less involved the further you go in as well. So he actually wrote episode 4 of the show, which is the episode where both Amy and Ed, I think that's the guy that gets hurt. Is it Ed or something like that?
Yeah.
Whatever. But when those two that get attacked, he wrote that episode because it plays out. Ed plays it out pretty similar. He asks to be put away, and that happens in the show. Whereas Amy sticks around a lot longer. She like gets put on a chain because the sister doesn't want to kill her. And it's like this long-winded thing. She eventually does it, but earlier on, Robert Kirkman had a lot more involvement with it and was like, "I'll write the episodes if you want to change things drastically. I'll do that for you," sort of thing. But
Okay.
as it went on,
cool.
it's like, meh, do what you want.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna go bring back Telltale.
Yeah, he's probably making so much money that he's like, I don't care what you guys do.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
just keep
yeah.
getting me that money.
The first season's highest rated was like 5.8, and the most season 8's highest rated was like 11 point something or other million. So it's still fine.
Far out. Yeah, cool. Also in the show, they seem to be with the survivors. Sorry, Rick seems to be with the survivors in the first town for a lot longer.
Yeah.
The son and his the man and his son.
Yep.
And then they've added in the sort of story beat of them not really wanting to leave because the guy's wife and the kid's mum is still around, and they still see her, and it hurts them, but they don't want to leave her. And there's some pretty intense stuff there. So episode 1 had some good stuff in it, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give the rest of the season a go. But yeah, I definitely want to keep reading this series.
I want to know where it goes.
Yeah, totally. Very good. So we got a couple of Patreons. Our Patreons also have input in on this. Well, everyone does, but our Patreons are most involved, which is great. So we have resident mentioned guy,
Lucas Coombe.
Wow, that was so loud. Yes, so we have him. He gave us a whole bunch of thoughts, which are great. He said he's speed reading through, just like Will did. And he said he prefers the comic version of Rick rather than the show. He said he hasn't watched the first season in over a year, but he finds Rick more relatable. He said the artwork on the zombies is actually terrifying. The whole situation is terrifying. All the characters are believable, which is sort of what I was getting at. I dig them way more in the comic.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm enjoying this way more than any episode of the show.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so I think he actually bought the comic for this. So it sounds like he hadn't read the comic before. So that's pretty cool. Hearing the feedback from someone that watched the show and was a fan for a little while. It seems like most of season 1 he watched it. But then has read the comic and is like back in.
Yeah.
But back in on a comic level rather than the show level.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. He said the rain scene is illustrated beautifully, where it starts raining, I guess, and I'm assuming this is the scene.
Yeah.
It starts raining and it washes the guts off Rick and Glenn while they're trying to get guns, which is fair enough. I'm gonna quickly jump to that in the comic that I have here.
It's a great scene.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like the most detailed section.
Yeah.
So much happening, and there's like nothing to read.
No.
You
see everything happening.
It's just people screaming.
Yeah.
It's just and then like the zombies just go, whatever.
Good
I'm
job.
bad at sound effects, everyone.
Really? Everything's so soft.
Thanks, yeah. I think when I said screaming and then started doing that, I was like, that's the zombie sound effect that I wanted to do. I did the wrong sound effect for the wrong thing.
But you couldn't go back because this isn't edited. So
damn it. Sorry, guys. I failed you. I'll do better in the future. No, I won't. He said the artwork is great in general. And having gotten to the end of Volume 1, he wants to read more.
Yeah, which is
So
our
he's
thoughts, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said he always tolerated the show. I watched the first season and dropped in and out of the second, but he said he's fully into the comic now.
Yep.
So
Good.
there you go. It's pretty cool. And then we also have Jade, who was previously mentioned, who one of her comments on our thing reminded me of the Undertale news. But she said, confession, I tend to avoid zombie stuff because I'm a delicate flower and it bothers me, which is fair enough. So that said, I have managed to watch a few zombie flicks like Warm Bodies and Shaun of the Dead, which are probably good choices because they're more comedies.
Yeah, they're drastically
lot
different to this
lighter.
show.
Yeah, totally. So it's way lighter.
Yeah.
Warm Bodies, I can't remember the guy that's in that, but I did want to see that when I saw the ads for it, because it just seemed like cute and fun. It's basically a zombie who is sort of becoming less of a zombie.
Pretty sure it's the guy that's like Beast in the X-Men films now.
Yes, yeah, that guy. Yeah, and he's got a little
Nicholas
bit of
Hoult.
humanity to him. Cool.
Yeah.
There you go. And like falls in love with some girl. And they hang out and stuff. And then you got Shaun of the Dead, which is who's the actor in that? The main guy.
Sean Pegg and Nick Frost. It's part of the Cornetto trilogy.
That's the one. Yeah. So they seem like good ones.
They're the light ones.
She said, "I understand that the zombie tropes are usually linked to consumerism. Is that the case here?"
I feel like from this first volume, it doesn't delve anything into the zombies.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could really pull anything from that. And even the show, the zombies are not the focus; it's the people.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Robert Kirkman actually writes at the start of the comic. Did you read his his forward thing?
Yeah.
Where he basically says, "This isn't really about the zombies. It's just a story that has zombies in it.
Yeah.
It's not all focused on the zombies entirely. There are very much zombies in it, and they are fairly graphically drawn. So maybe if Jade, you want to check this out, maybe have a look at some of the panels in it. You can just look up comic stuff online, like comic panels from it, to see whether you reckon you could handle it. But the zombie sort of horror isn't like heap strong. I don't think. I don't know. Do you reckon people could get scared off this comic?
I don't think so. I think anyone of a certain age, I don't think would be scared of this. There's definitely an age range where you would be, but
yeah,
totally.
totally.
I think it's not that. It's not rated anything that you wouldn't be able to read it off a shelf.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, no, that sounds good. Cool. So yeah, I don't think it's really linked to consumerism at this stage. I don't know. I'd have to read more, but yeah.
It's no Sunset Overdrive.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And then she's also asked, in your opinion, she's asked a whole bunch of
few
things,
questions,
and
yeah.
she's given us a bit of a challenge. In your opinion, what makes this comic book so compelling and popular?
It's just easy.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to read, and probably, like we were saying before, just the characters are compelling and interesting. And it sounds like, from what I've heard people or how I've heard people comparing the comic to the TV show, it sounds like people die a lot more often in the comic. And like they die and then more characters get added and then they die, which is very, like, it'd be way more hard financially for the TV show to do that, because they'd have to keep getting new actors in all the time. So it makes
and also
sense
the comics
that
give reason and like compelling reasons for the characters to die, whereas the show, it's very much like, hey, this episode's exciting because this person dies, and it's never heroic or anything. It's just like, well, in this episode, this person's not in it anymore. Whereas the comics are like, it just feels more momentous when someone leaves your comic.
Yeah. I think
they're given a reason.
It seems to like push forward really organically.
Yeah.
In the comic, which is great. Yeah. So, and then she's also said, did it deserve a TV series or video game series? Convince me. Interesting. Well, convince me.
Yeah, I guess convince her to read it based on all of those questions she's asked.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it didn't not.
Didn't not. So you think it did?
Yeah.
You think? Yeah. I think it works. I think it totally works. People that aren't reading the comics, but would rather watch a TV show, that works for them. And a lot of people loved it and still do. Like you said, it's just increasing in the amount of profit it seems to be making, which is crazy. The video game series as well. Does the video game series follow the comic or the TV show?
It's in universe, but it's not any of the characters from it, because it's a brand new. It starts with the protagonist of, not gonna remember her name, but the little girl. Oh, it's on the tip of my tiny little tongue. No.
Clementine?
Yeah, Clem. I see what I was gonna say yen, but it's Clem.
Because there is Walking Dead like Clementine, but there's a whole bunch of different other ones, aren't there?
They did try. Clementine's the only one that stuck.
Right. Okay, cool.
You know how they just made too many things and that's what made them die?
Yeah.
That was part of it.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so I think the video game series works as well. Like,
not that new one that came out last week, the Telltale one.
Yeah, what happened to that? How is it?
It's out. I haven't touched it, but it's out.
Right. Interesting. Yeah.
Overkill.
So, I don't know, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm sure whoever they're aiming it at, those people are loving it. I think the comics, they're the most compelling to me and to Will and also to Lucas. Because they just seem way more consistent. But yeah, for Jade, I reckon she should check out the comic, at least just volume 1. Just see how she goes with it. Yeah, I don't know if you're reading the comic, I don't know if you need to bother with the other things. But if you get heaps into the universe, then maybe.
Maybe the games.
Yeah.
I think if you get invested in the comic book, then don't bother with the TV, but go to the games. Because it's the TV series is based off what you're reading, whereas the game is an expansion on what you're reading.
Yeah, but also be prepared to realize that the games probably won't have a proper ending.
Well, no, we're sweet. Robert Kirkman bought the rights and he's finishing it off.
Oh, he actually is?
Yeah.
It's all confirmed? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool. Because I know there was a whole bunch of rumors about different companies going, yeah, we're going to finish it.
No. He has a gaming company. His gaming company's like, yeah, give it to me. Robert Kirkman at a New York Comic Con panel was like, we need to finish the Clementine story. So, you're sweet. Play the game.
Good. There you go. So yeah, play either one. The game might be even scarier because it's actually animated, but it's also very cartoony, so...
it'll probably break if it's the Telltale engine, so...
Potentially. Yeah. Let us know, Jade, if this has been convincing. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's our thoughts on The Walking Dead, Volume 1, Episode 1 and 2-ish.
That's it. So yeah, I definitely want to keep reading this. I'm going to buy more, and I will finish off Season 1, see how I feel about it then. But yeah, that's it.
There you go. There
Cool.
you go.
So for our next one,
Yes.
this is leading into next month. I think Will and I are very excited about this. Will's read it already, but he's
I'm ready to read it
again, I think.
Yeah.
Very good. But it is the Spider-Verse from, I think, like 2012, 13-ish.
Oh, earlier than that. I mean, further through that, because Spider-Gwen didn't drop till 2014. Because she was alongside Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm just looking it up as well. I can hear you typing. Where are we at? Come on, Marvel Unlimited. Freaking open.
2014. I was correct.
Cool.
2014 storyline. It's then come back again this year in Spider-Geddon, but Spider-Geddon's quite shit, so we're going to stick with Spider-Verse. We'll probably glance at Spider-Geddon, which is the most recent one, but it entails quite a few different things. So over on our Facebook page, when we do a post to announce that is the one we're working towards, we'll drop a kind of reading order. And the best place to go to read these, Joshua...
Yes, Marvel Unlimited. Please, guys, get onto this freaking thing. It's so good.
It is the greatest thing.
Yeah. We'll also, just quickly, on the reading order thing, we'll drop it in the info about thing below this video and stuff. So you'll be able to find it there. There are 31 issues in this, so pretty long.
They're all the standard kind of 25 to 30 pages as well. So.
Yeah. So we might do this, we'll do the podcast for it more towards the middle of December, so...
You got time.
Yeah. But yeah, jump onto Marvel Whoa!
Marvel Unlimited.
There you go. Got it. Marvel Unlimited. It's got every issue of Spider-Verse on there. It's a subscription service, much like your Netflix, but for Marvel Comics. It's pretty much got everything on there. Like, there's some things that are missing, which are a little bit annoying. Like, if you're reading one of the, what was it, like the 2012 or 13 issues of the Hulk, where Bruce Banner gets shot in the back of the head and you see the bullet go through his head, and then the next issue doesn't exist on there.
Yeah. They're doing a weird thing. They've hit 2018 now, but it seems to be like a monthly thing still. Like, they're coming into 2018 issues whilst also going like, all right, we're on November, the second week of November, so we'll get all the issues from the second week of November across a few different years, whilst still pushing through to 2018 in another respect. So it's very weird how they work it out, but as long as you go with the big events, they have all of that.
Yes. Yeah. Like this one. So
yes.
Get into it. So yeah, we'll be reading through that and discussing it later. We'll keep everyone up to date about when we're going to be discussing that in a future episode. But man, I'm excited. I've been reading the first issue of this reading order, which is Superior Spider-Man issue 32. It's where it all begins. And oh man, it's good.
It's good.
It's so fun. So good. Yes.
So you got about a month to read all of that, because in a month's time it will be Into the Spider-Verse. So we'll try and get you that podcast alongside that film. So
oh man,
it's gonna be a big month for the Spider-Boy.
I'm unbelievably excited.
Yeah.
For that movie.
They put up a cardboard standee across the cinemas, event cinemas. So that's an exciting thing to walk into. I feel like they're putting up those standees a bit early now. They're up there for a long time, and they've fallen apart before the movie even comes out.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, it's not until it's the 13th of December, so it's a month away. That's 4 weeks for it to fall apart.
I mean, like, it's like shops putting up Christmas decorations.
Ah, yes.
Early November or like late October.
They put it up before friggin' what's the thing? Halloween's over.
Did they?
Yeah, they were up beginning of October for me. I put up an Instagram story at the Doctor Who on Instagram, and it was a tree. There was a tree in the fuck off.
I missed that.
I literally wrote fuck off.
I noticed at my local Coles, I think like a couple of days after Halloween finished, the section that had all the Halloween stuff now just has Christmas stuff. Yeah.
Do they have, because you live in a area that's got a lot of Jewish people, is there like a Hanukkah section?
I don't know. I'd have to have a look.
I wonder if they will. That'd be exciting.
There's a what's the
halal section? So
not that one. That's kosher. The wrong one. Kosher. That's the one. There's a whole aisle or like half aisle for kosher foods. But yeah, I'll have to have a look out for
dreidels
Hanukkah.
And stuff. Yeah.
There is I was going to say a Hanukkah store. There is a Jewish store, kind of like your Christian bookstores and stuff, but obviously for Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'd be doing a lot to do with Hanukkah. But
exciting.
Yeah, like they've got the candelabra things. You can get all that jazz. Yeah, cool. I think we're done.
I think we are.
Are we done? Sweet.
Yeah. Check out the channel this week. This episode will happen after the weekly upload. I think I'm also playing both Spyro and Hitman this week. In Hitman, I don't know if this will be up before or afterwards, but I'm gonna hit someone and then I'm gonna run. I'm basically gonna play tag in Hitman and just see how far and for how long I can run before I die. So that's gonna be fun.
I like that. That sounds good. I don't know what I'm gonna do this week. I have a whole bunch of different things like sort of that I would like to look at. I want to get back to Et Old. I've got an episode of Super Mario 64 from like 3 or 4 months ago that I recorded very, very drunkily. Like I would usually record 2 to 3 episodes of Et Old while being a little bit tipsy at a time, but at that stage I recorded one for about 20 minutes and then just got into bed and laid there. It was like 8:30 at night. And I just laid in bed like in so much pain.
I see.
It was weird, man. But yes, I might find that video and edit that or make something else. I was also thinking this morning, I want to look at Silent Hill, the original one.
Yeah, okay.
And play that. Because I remember trying that a couple of years ago and kind of got creeped out. So it would be funny to watch me get creeped out in a video and see how that goes.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I remember going into a bathroom and there was like a girl crying in one of the stalls, but there was no girl in the stalls.
Oh god.
And I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I think I gave up not long after that. But yeah, I would like to have a look at that for some reason because I'm an idiot. So yeah, hell yeah, done.
We are. Until the next podcast, the Doctor Who is out.
And the sheep is out.